All right, so today we're going to do something that honestly I've been putting off as long as possible, and now the time is here and it's got to be done. And that's address the fuel tank and the fuel system on this thing. Uh, Man, I've put it off as long as I can. Now we're going full custom fuel system. Oh, yay.
I'd say it's a nut job.
Okay, so what we have with this particular wagon, and not all of them were the same. Different trim levels got different things. But this wagon right here, of course, here's the fuel neck or the filler hose spot. Um, but the gas tank itself is in this fender well right here and kind of wraps around this tire a little bit. So that means that I think if we feel right in here, I think the tank starts right here and wraps around down into here and goes back to right in here. Nobody on the planet reproduces this gas tank. It's not available. It doesn't exist. It's just not there. And I know the quick thinking is, why don't you repair the pinholes? Well, I've repaired 2 pinholes in it, and I put a product called Red Coat in the tank to try to coat it. But the tank has just so many issues up high, and I don't know why it's up high and not down low. That's a whole different story. But I've patched a couple pinholes, and now a couple more have appeared, and it's just become an issue overall. So I'm just going to change the tank. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can go with this. I've kind of been through all the options in my head. Uh, you'll see the tank when I get it out, but I've been through a couple of options in my head. I don't know. Then the whole thing about it's still right here. Part of me thinks it's probably safer if the gas tank is not right here. And then again, honestly, the reason it may have holes on up here instead of down low is simply something coming off the tire and hitting it right there. Not saying this car has ever done a smoky burnout, but for instance, if it had, it is entirely possible that something got thrown up in there. Oh, more issues. So as I showed in a video I done a few weeks ago, if you haven't seen that, you can go back and check it out. I bought, or I picked up this Bronco tank. Or actually, a buddy of mine bought it for a different project, and I got it from him. But this is, I think, 30 gallons. That factory tank out there is like 12. So we're going to greatly increase the capacity. This car did not come with the fold-up seats back here. So this right here is a spare tire well. So ditch the spare tire from here, and this tank sits perfectly under this. Still going to put the cover back over it and everything, so it'll look like a factory floor back here. But we're going to use this tank. I've got the fuel sending unit in it. I've done that in a previous video. The tank is not mounted yet. And then we're going to take exhaust pipe tubing and build a filler neck go out here. Here's some of the rubber fuel stuff. This is steel belted, so this is rated for, this is actual fuel hose, not just a rubber hose. We're going to build a new filler neck that goes from an original location right there, comes down, comes out, and then we'll use a piece of this to connect it right here. Is the plan. Mount this tank down, vent it to the outside, and then we should have enough room behind it and everything that we can use it for storage, like belts and hoses, and just have a couple boxes back here with some spare stuff in case something happens on the road. But this now will give us 30 gallons of fuel instead of 12, and puts it back here. It's 3 feet from the back of the car or further, through a bumper and a double walled tailgate and a crash panel through here. And then of course sides, it's got the quarter panel, the inner skin, and then the You know, what I'm saying is I believe this is going to be a much safer alternative. But it's all going to start with getting that tank that's in there out of this car. And I'm not looking forward to that at all. So I'm going to get the car jacked up, get a jack stand under the back of the car, and then we'll pull this tire off and start working on getting that tank out. Again, that's the job I've been kind of dreading. And all right, let's start with getting the lug nuts off and getting this tire off. All right, get this off. 275 60 15s on the back of this thing, in case you were wondering. So right here is the gas tank, and you can see there's just a little cushion between it and the quarter panel right there, and the gas tank comes up and around the tire there, and it goes almost all the way to the bottom right there, but it's right at the quarter. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but it just seems like a bad idea to put the gas tank right at the quarter like that. Like, you know, what if a feller coming from yonder way runs a stop sign and I'm going this way? That looks like a kaboom waiting to happen. I'm not a big fan of kaboomas when I'm in the car that's going kaboom. Start with this filler neck. It doesn't appear that there's any screws holding that in, but it's, you may not be able to see them. I think I'm going to take these two bolts out and take this door off and get a little better light in there. Okay, apparently there is no filler neck. Right there's the top of the tank. So it's just a little short neck with a cap on top of it. It's been so long since I've had this tank out, I didn't remember. I was thinking there was a plate around here that had to come off for this to come out, but nope, sure ain't. But it does give me time to clean all this up, and the end goal is to paint the car. All this needs to be cleaned up and made look better anyway. All right, after a fight, the tank is now down, but I can't get it out unless the car goes way higher in the air. So we're going to have to get sketchy high in the air now and get the tank out of there and see what we're working with as far as how we're going to now funnel a neck into here. We'll just see what we're working with. Well, there it is, the OG tank. You can see that angle is pretty much matches that angle. It goes down like that. You can see how it swoops up right here. That goes around the tire right there. And then, of course, just a little filler neck in the top right there. But it's got pinholes in it, and I think it's on this side, about halfway down, and it's along the seam right there. Is where the holes are. So yeah, now it's time to do something different with it. Look at that tiny little fuel line sticking down there, a 5/16 fuel line. That ain't gonna go back on it either. We've got entire 3/8 fuel line to run the entire length of this car, so it will get a whole new fuel line. Whew. Alright, so now I need to get in here and figure out where I'm going to cut this hole at for this to go through to that. Not overly excited about cutting a hole in it, but we're going to try to do it as neatly as possible. Let's see, my filler neck feels right here, but in here it's back here. So it's going to have to go at an angle when it goes through. Now let's just figure it out. Alright, let's get under here. There's my hole. Let's see. I'll just take a random piece of pipe. See what I'm working with. Look right there. It's down low. Perfect. So I thought this was like it is down there, a layer inside, a layer outside, then outside. But once I took this off, no, it's just one layer. So I didn't even finish taking it off because I'm going to drill both pieces anyway. The idea is I've done a 2.5 inch hole for a 2 1/4 inch pipe. That way it gives me a little room to cock it sideways like that, which is what I need. And then of course we'll seal this hole with some good sealer. Okay, get this down. That's as far forward as I can send that tank. Now where did I put my little bend at? I want to stick it through there and get it angled in the right direction. Am I going to do that? I think I want it to be. What if I just done this? I just done this. No, that's 45 and down. I know I need to go that way. If we've done that, let me go on around to the outside and let's see where it needs to face on the outside. All right, here's kind of where I'm sitting at. I don't mind this too much. It's not exactly straight. It's kind of leaned at an angle. I think I can fix that, but it's a little off, but I don't think that it's going to matter. I mean, let's say this socket right here is the fuel nozzle. I mean, that's still a 2 1/4 inch hole, and you got a little nozzle. I think it'll be fine. I mean, honestly, I don't think there's going to be any problem with that. But we can tweak that a little bit. We go around to the back side of the car. Kind of the same situation. That is not 1000% straight in line, but I believe there's enough flex. This hose don't flex much, but I believe there's enough in it to get that, so that we didn't have a rubber connection at the tank for if we ever need to remove the tank for any reason. Okay, so there's the idea, but right when I pushed that together, my piece out there kind of dropped. It's a pretty tight wiggle through there. So I'm going to see if I can, I'm going to go to the part store and see if they've got a pre-bent 90, because I'm using a 45, and see if they got a pre-bent 90, and that'll just get me out of that hole a little easier. And I think may make things work a little better. So I'm gonna see what they got. But that's the idea. Once it's all hooked up, that's it. And then that piece that goes across here will go back over there. Now, granted, there will have to be a tiny little notch in it right there, and you will see about 2 inches of pipe right there. Paint it black, or make a little cover that drops over it, or something, just so you never see it. Out of sight, out of mind, right? So people that don't see it won't ask what it is. But it's coming along. It's the idea right now. That's the way it should look. But I've got a little tweaking to do. So our new filler neck came in. Now, my goal with this was for you not to ever know anything had been changed from the outside. This thing has a door over it right here, and I wanted a filler neck up here that I could put a stock replacement cap in, or even the original cap, filler cap back in. Problem, as always, to get a stock replacement at the local parts store, or stock replacement style at the local parts store, we dug through a bunch. We're talking $180 to $200 for one that looks like it could have come factory on here. Y'all know me, I'm all about trying to find a budget way to do stuff. So got to shopping around online, and yeah, stock Ford stuff kind of is expensive in the filler neck range. You can find a few things here and there, and they've got some weird pipe with them, and it was a whole thing. But I found what was probably the most economical, budget-friendly thing I could find. Came in today. This is actually referred to as a boat style. It has the O-ring there, has a little chain on it, screws in. It's a pretty simple little filler neck there. And this one, 20 bucks. Now, that's not a terribly big deal that it just drops in there. See the size of the hole I got here I'm working with, and that just kind of drops right in there. Not really a massive deal, but I want it to be able to seal tight around this so that, you know, you do the typical thing where you're sitting here filling it up, click, fill up a little more, click, that it's not just going to ooze up between here and just pump out on the ground, because, well, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to have to get a little creative about connecting from here to here. Okay, so here's what our filler neck needs to look like. I'm going to lay it down here. I'm going to back up. That's what our filler neck needs to look like. It comes up, and you can see I cut this. I had to angle this cut just a little bit because it sits at the top where you fill it up. It sits kind of at an angle. I need to clean it up just a little bit, but I traced it around the hole and filled it up so it sits at a little bit of an angle, goes down like that. Actually, it sits in there like that. This is exactly how it sits in there. It sits in there like that, so it's a little bit of an angle this way, which I trimmed. Goes down at a slight, kind of like a slow S. Comes out right there. That's the way it'll look. And that's because our original filler neck location is here, but our filler neck location on the inside is right there. So you can see I put a piece of tape right there. That piece of tape is kind of in between it. It starts over here and ends right over here. Not off by much, just enough, and that tank can't come any farther forward because of the rear of the car. So I made this out of exhaust pipe. Like I said, I drew a line on it, so you can see the line right there. That's where it goes in back there, and it'll come up at kind of an angle like that, and that's what it'll look like. Now I made this out of 2 1/4 inch exhaust pipe. The original filler neck, which is still on the old tank right over there, measure it. The original filler neck is only 1.7 inches. So this is way bigger than a stock filler neck. Okay, so while I'm waiting on everything to dry up, I went ahead and took the gas door and the inside of it and just put a little dab of paint. The light's making it look weird for some reason, but anyway, just put a little dab of paint on the inside of it and a little dab of paint inside of here, so that when we body work the car and get ready to paint the car, I don't have to worry about having the door open and closed the spray and try to get under it. Now I can body work the outside of the car, put the door on it, set it down, body work the outside of the car, get everything cleaned up, and then when I spray it, just a little bit overspray, it goes around the edge of the door. It'll be fine because the insides will already be matched up, colored up. And the same thing with the back of this. Now I don't have to worry about flipping it open and trying to spray upside down. It's all done. I also have started cleaning up and doing the inside of the fender well. Okay, so back together, doors back on it and everything. And boop, there's our filler neck. Went ahead and put a little color inside there because the car is going to be painted before long. But there it is. Technically a boat style. Got a little lip you flip up there. Got to unscrew it. Got about 17 times threads it needs. Then you just flick that out of the way. Fill it up. It's got a little chain that keeps you from losing this. Drop that right back down in the hole there. It's got an O-ring on it, so you don't have to get Hercules tight with it. Just a little snug. And that's it. I mean, it is kind of a fancy cap, but it's the cheapest thing I could get. And then you're never going to see any of it anyway once this is closed down. Why is that showing up? So I promise you, that is not that off-colored in person. That's some reason it's showing up like it on camera. But anyway, so yeah, there it is. And of course, here's the back of it. The tank is under that. I have the actual door that goes under there, but it's extremely nasty. It's a good washing and painting and all that stuff. But just so I know what I need to do, I laid a piece of plywood in its place. And right there is all you're going to see. That little 3-inch section of coming through right down there in the very lower lip. And I've got two schools of thought on it. Either I'm just going to paint that right there black so it blends in with everything, or I'm going to build just a little angled piece that slides over that and trim it off. I'm not sure which way I want to do that yet, but that is the only indication that that we're not using the original factory fuel tank. All right, I've kind of had my head down getting the tank part finished up. All I got to do now is run the new fuel line the length of the car, and the fuel system is done. Got a little cosmetic stuff left to do back here. Lord have mercy. My face is black from all the stuff I've been working on. But I'm going to show you where I'm at. Check this out. This is my solve. Now you can see that tiny little nudge right there sticking through. And that's literally 2 fingers. That's how much of that you see. I probably could have curved that board right there up over it, honestly, but it would have been a hump up, and I think it'd have been more noticeable. But barn wood, hardwood floor in the bed of your wagon, why not? I still got to paint that piece right there. That's the piece that folds down over the back seat, and then paint the back of the back seat right there, or dye the back of the back seat right there so that it's all black. But chose this barn wood because of the grays and the kind of dark tones in it. I think it works well with the black interior that we're going with. And honestly, hardwood floor in the back of your wagon, how is that not cool? You know what I mean? How many people can say they've just walked by kind of casual and glanced in the back of the wagon and go, holy crap, there's a hardwood floor in the back of their wagon. Yeah. Is that in any way necessary? Absolutely not. Did I really need to spend the time on doing that? Probably not. But is it silly cool? Absolutely. I mean, we got a dance floor in the back of the wagon for getting down. You know what I mean? Yeah. Power tour, here we come with a rolling disco party. Yeah. All right, I got 5 gallons of gas, and I'm gonna dump 5 gallons in it. And well, if I screwed something up, we'll make a big enough mess to where everybody's gonna know it, I guess. Be the first time there's ever been fuel in this tank. Hopefully, I didn't forget to tighten the clamp or nothing silly, because I'll tell you, it's gonna be possible because well, I've been going for like 2 weeks on this thing now, and it would be entirely possible for me to forget something. I don't see nothing running out yet. Of course, probably run out on the floor of the car, and that might take a minute to notice. But we're going to try to put 5 gallons in it. Hope for the best. And I think, surely 5 gallons is enough for it to draw it up there, right? There she is. 5 gallon. Well, actually, like 4.9, because I went in and prepaid it. My math was a little off. But still, close to 5 gallons. Put the little cap on. Uh-oh. A little cap on. Good and tight. Close the little lid. Let's take a peek and make sure I don't see any dribbles. Oh, it's dry. The only thing I don't know of is the reason I said 5 gallons enough is the car is jacked up, so it's cocked to one side, which is technically running away from the pickup. All right, guys, forgive me. My mic died on me, so I'm going to have to just talk this one through without a mic. I've got this. That says out. I've got this little clicky-clack cheap fuel pump. I'm going to stick on a line right here and try to go ahead and draw fuel up here so the car doesn't have to whine for 8 years to get fuel up here. It does say out. Going to. All right. There it comes. It actually came up through there fairly quickly. I guess that's a good thing, right? It comes up that quick. Okay, awesome. Let's see if it'll run enough to crank up or wind enough to pick fuel up. I don't know if there's any fuel in the bowls or carburetor or not, so it may have to wind for a minute. It may not. I don't know. I know that valve cover over is loose and I need to tighten it, but good. Stay good, bull. sir. I don't see any leaks under the car anywhere. Looks good. Looks real good. So I had a slight issue there. About the time the fuel pump got fuel up to the filter and started filling the filter up, the battery was getting really drained. Well, this car happens to have an MSD on it. And apparently, the battery got low enough that where the MSD wouldn't fire. So, got to keep an eye on that kind of stuff. But put the battery charger on it, the boost box on it, popped right off. It fills the filter right up, so it's drawing good from the tank. I don't see any leaks under the car. So I think we're golden. I think everything's good to go. I'm gonna leave the battery on the charger for a while, let it get full charged. I'm gonna poke my head in the back here. Get back here. I don't smell any fuel. So I think we're good to go. And I'm still having a mental debate. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. That right there is literally 2 fingers. That's how much of that little tube is sticking through right there. Now, part of me wants to build a little trim piece to go over that and just block that off. But here's what I'm thinking in my mind. From back here, it's black. It kind of blends in. You don't really notice it. Yeah, you notice a little dip right there, but you don't really notice it. I'm afraid if I put a trim piece over it, it will actually make it stand out and make people wonder what that's all about. So I'm still debating. I hadn't made up my mind either way yet. Honestly, it's so tiny. Like I said, you know, this much. It's so tiny that a little piece of scrap would cover it up, and that would be the end of it. I just can't, in my mind, decide if I want to do that or not. What do y'all think about the wood floor in the back of this thing? That's going to look good, isn't it? I think so anyway. You know, mobile dance floor, right? So guys, I appreciate you watching. If you haven't seen the video on the dash, that's worth watching. I have $5 in this dash, and it was completely busted and torn apart. And now it looks like a brand new dash, and I got $5 invested in it. So it's worth watching that video if you hadn't. I show you everything I've done and run through the numbers of what it would be for you to do that as well. Guys, please remember to like, share, comment, do all those things. And if you want to join the channel, it's $99. You can join for 99 cents a month. You can do that, but you don't have to. I'll put a link in the description. And let me know what you think about the wood floor in the back. I kind of think that's kind of cool. You may not, but let me know. We're going to drive this thing for a while and make sure there's nothing that's catastrophic that needs to be addressed. Nothing that would stop us from doing a road trip before we address those few little piddly things on the list, you know, that don't really matter, like putting a new exhaust on there and stuff. This exhaust works. It's just rattly. So, you know, the stuff that don't really matter right now, because everything I did mattered, right? So we're going to drive it for a little while, make sure everything's good on it. I'm fixing to put the tire back on it, drop it on the ground, and start cruising around in it. The next video you see on this thing will be a while because I got some other stuff to get done. And that video, we're going to do a budget paint and body episode. So y'all hang in there. She's getting good, and it's going to be a pretty cool little wagon. God bless y'all. I hope the Lord bless you more today than he did yesterday. To him be the glory. Guys, we will see you on the next one.
I'd say it's a nut job.